Good morning, boys and girls. We're here again with Grandma Millie, and she's going to share a story with us today. About...
What story would you like to hear today?
Oh, well, you've got several exciting stories.
Which one do you want today?
Oh, there was one that involved a car that I was thinking of. Did I record it?
Oh, okay.
Okay. First, we'll need to start with prayer.
Okay, good idea.
Dear Jesus, thank you for our time together, and please help us to be able to learn more about you and how we can trust you. Amen.
Hi. I would like to tell you a story today about when I was 19 years old. Something that happened. My brother had gotten married, and they were fixing to move to Iowa. He was going to start a job in Iowa. We lived in California. And their old pickup was loaded down with all their stuff, including all their wedding presents and everything. And they didn't even get out of town. And you know what happened?
What? Their
truck broke down. It was an old beat-up truck, but it was a truck. It was my brother's truck. And they had a little Vega hatchback car too. And the truck broke down before they ever got out of town. So our parents hauled their truck back to their place. And they got it fixed for him, and our dad took his vacation time, and we were going to make a long road trip to Iowa from California. We had to go from California through Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, and I don't remember if we went through any other states before we got to Iowa or not, but there was at least 5 or 6 states that we were in on our trip. And, excuse me, my mom and dad drove the pickup, and I followed them in our Pinto station wagon. I had the car all to myself, so I could listen to any music I wanted to. And we drove through California, through Nevada, and into Utah. I guess this one morning it was sunny and nice, and well, it was actually hot early in the morning. So I was dressed in a sleeveless shirt and shorts and tennis shoes. And that morning when I woke up, I rolled over in my sleeping bag in the tent, and I picked up my Bible, and I stopped and I prayed to Jesus that he would be with us through the day. And I opened my Bible and I studied my lessons, I read my Bible, and then I got up and I got dressed, and we fixed breakfast. We took the tents down. Well, my tent, my parents slept in the back end of the pickup. And we got in the cars, and we started driving. And we were just about through Utah when we were hit by a cloudburst. Do you know what a cloudburst is?
No, tell us.
A cloudburst is where it was cloudy, and all of a sudden the rain just started coming real hard and real fast. Lots of it. And you couldn't hardly see where the road was. We were on Highway 80 going east. And Highway 80 was an interstate highway, so it was a big highway. And I was following my mom and dad. They were in the pickup, and I was in the Pinto station wagon. And we were warmly greeted into Wyoming by a slight let up in the rain. I looked down at my watch, and it was 4:45 in the afternoon. So I knew we'd be stopping before too long, so we could set up our tent and fix supper and spend the night. I looked up at the speedometer, and we'd speeded up to 35 miles an hour on the interstate. Usually you drive about 70 miles on there an hour. And I looked on up the windshield, and I realized I'd moved off to the right a little bit. I thought, okay, I must have accidentally steered that way a little bit. So I turned the wheel to the left a little bit. Nothing happened. I turned a little bit further to the left. Nothing happened. I was starting to get a little bit worried. Because I said, why isn't the car turning? I stepped on the brake. Nothing happened. I just kept on going. I didn't have my foot on the gas. By this time, I'm really starting to get worried. Because I looked out again, and I'm getting even closer to the side of the road. And I knew I didn't want to go off the edge of the road there, because there was a steep bank going down from the road and a whole bunch of trees at the bottom of that bank. And I knew if I went off there, the car might roll. And I knew I didn't want to hit those trees because it would hurt. I had my seatbelt on, so I wouldn't have gotten thrown around the car too badly, but it probably wouldn't have felt very good. The next thing I remember, I saw there were black stakes along the side of the highway showing where the edge of the road was. I guess so if there was snow and whatnot, so people wouldn't end up in the ditch. Next thing I remember, I saw one of those marker sticks dead center in front of the car. And I watched as it came whizzing past my window. I didn't hit it yet. I thought it was going to run right into it. The next thing I remember, I felt myself moving backwards and downhill. And all I could think of was, now I know what it feels like to go in a ditch.
And also to
have the car out of control too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see anything out the windows. I looked, and there was mud flying everywhere from the wheels of the car.
Did you get mud on the car?
Oh, there was a lot of mud on the car.
Did it even get on the window so you couldn't see?
Oh, it was all over the car. Windows, top of the car. My brother's bicycle was tied on top of the car. And it stayed there, but it was covered with mud too.
Was he mad?
Well, he wasn't there with us. He was in Iowa. No, he wasn't mad. We got it washed off later. I felt the car going downhill, and then it kind of turned and went uphill a little bit, backwards, and that rolled forwards a little bit, and it stopped. And
roll backwards, forwards, backwards.
JJ.
And all I could think of was getting out of the car before it exploded or something. So I jumped out of the car. It's still pouring down rain. I'm in tennis shoes and shorts and a sleeveless shirt. I left my purse in the car, and I ran as fast away from the car.
Then you realized you put your purse.
Yeah, then I remembered my purse, and I turned around and looked at the car, expecting to see it in flames or something. But it was just sitting there, and it seemed like it was a long ways away, but it wasn't all that far away. And all I could think of then was to catch up with my mom and dad, because they were going to wait for me if we got separated. And if I didn't catch up with them, how would I find them? Because they weren't coming back to look for me. So, and we didn't have cell phones back then.
No.
So I couldn't just call up and say, "Hey, Mama, I ended up in the ditch. I need you to come get me."
Yep.
I saw a big truck and a car parked by the highway. I thought, all I could see was the top of them. And I thought, I've got to get up there so I could get a ride to catch up with Mama and Daddy. So I ran back to the car and I got my purse. Closed the car door because I'd left it open in the rain. And I ran up the steep bank. And there was about this much gravel where it was flat with the road. And about that much more pavement. And then there was a white line for the outside lane for the cars. I was watching my feet as I was going so I wouldn't trip. And my left foot was about that far from the white line. My right foot was out over the lane of traffic.
JJ, no.
And I was running, mind you.
Yeah, it's Josie.
And my right foot was about this far off from the ground.
This far, your
And
right foot was.
All of a sudden,
This far.
I felt the presence. I didn't see it, but I felt
This far.
an arm come over my right shoulder with a white robe on it. I could feel the robe on it, and it hung down about that far on the arm. And I could feel the presence of it, almost like it had glitter on it.
Glitter, glitter, glitter.
And
that glitter, glitter.
It had a real pretty, real
Fox.
light blue in the shadow areas where the folds were.
Real
And that
light
arm came over my shoulder, and I felt a hand on my chest just like this. And it ever so gently pushed me back, and I landed with both feet the same distance behind that white line. And my foot was out in the lane of traffic. I didn't move back like that on my own, did I? I had some help. That hand so gently pushed me back, and I landed in perfect balance when I was running. And I looked, and there was a car right there. If I had have taken that step, there's no way they could have missed hitting me. And they went on past.
They went on past.
When I got across the road, when I got across the road,
They got across the road.
the lady that gave me a ride in the car, she and her husband said that they thought the car had flipped over when it went off the road. They saw me go off. And when I finally caught up with my parents, we came back and my dad looked where I went off the road, and there was only about this much space between the tire track and one of those black metal marker stakes. I came that close to hitting it, and there was only one tire track that left the road. So only the tires on one side of the car were on the ground, the others were off the ground. And that's most likely why they thought the car flipped. And I got out without a scratch on me.
Tell them that
I didn't get hurt in the least bit.
We got scratches.
And you know what? I still thank God for my angel that protected me from running out in front of that car. And about 2 weeks after we got home, our pastor's daughter was just about exactly 2 weeks to the day younger than me. She had been going over to the academy where we had gone to school together, giving 6 girls Bible studies. And they wanted to learn more about Jesus. And they were trying to decide whether they were ready to give their life to Jesus or not. I went to their baptism.
You need to tell us what happened to it.
Oh yes, when we got home, we were going through the newspapers from the 2 weeks that we were gone, and we discovered that Dita Jean, our pastor's daughter, who I'd gone to school with, had drowned in a freak scuba diving accident. They don't really know what happened. But what I heard was she had screamed to her brother that she had lost her mouthpiece for breathing, and she started going under. And Orvin was a lifeguard, and he had to swim down under the water to get hold of her, and he just about couldn't get her because she kept going down and down and down and down. And there were real bad riptides and undertows at the beach. The undertows where the wave comes in and then it moves back out as another one's coming in. So that water going under just pulls you under. It's hard to stand up in it, even in knee-deep water, much less swimming in it. And there's been a lot of fishermen, well, people digging for clams on those beaches that got caught in riptide or undertows, washed out to sea, and they never found them again. Some of them, they'd find the body of the person miles down the beach, washed back up on shore. Orvin finally got hold of Dita and was able to pull her out. And they got the ambulance there and whatnot, but they couldn't save her.
It seems to me that there was a mother involved there too, that she hadn't wanted them to go.
Yes, their mother had begged them not to go to that beach because of the riptides and the undertows. It was one of the worst beaches, and they had gone anyway. And I'm sure that to this day, Orvin probably feels like he was responsible for her death, because neither one of them listened to their mother when she begged them not to go.
But he had lived, so.
He had lived. He had tried to save her, but he was unable to. And after Dita's funeral, well, we didn't get to go to the funeral, but afterwards, I went back to Monterey Bay Academy, and I went for the baptism of those 6 girls. There was not a dry eye in there. As the 6 girls gave their testimony, Dita Jean was pretty, she was smart, she was popular. She just told her mother that she thought she was falling in love with a boy. And her life was snuffed out. These girls gave their testimony that it was because of Dita Jean's death that they realized they may not have tomorrow to give their life to God. And they wanted to be ready when Jesus comes. They wanted to be ready when their time is over. And they were baptized and gave their hearts to God.